If you give me KD and James Harden, you figure out the rest. I think KD is a leader. Yep. I do think he's a leader. Nobody's perfect outside of LeBron in this league, but Harden plays hard. He plays every night. He will try to defend. He's a great scorer. He dribbles too much, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, to me, Kevin Durant should go up and just say, get me Harden. I don't even care if I start from scratch. Give me North Carolina's team. I don't care. So that's my theory on Harden, KD, it's like LeBron AD. Everything else floats. Just they'll make it work. And then you just ship Kyrie to Houston. Am I nuts on that?
Well, it's not that you're nuts. I actually think you're closer than the folks that think the Nets have any realistic chance of getting Harden with a package centered around Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie. And no disrespect to those players, but they're 26 and 27 years old. The picks you would attach to it are going to be borderline useless because you would have Kevin Durant and James Harden on the team, so the team would be excellent. If the Rockets are going to move on from Harden, if they've made that decision, and I don't believe they have, but if they have, you have to get a star and picks.
Yes.
So you've got to get Ben Simmons, or you've got to get Michael Porter Jr., or you call up Utah. Now, I don't know if James Harden would agree to set foot in Salt Lake City for more than a night, but Donovan Mitchell for James Harden could be interesting.
Yeah.
Just like Kyrie for Harden, I agree with you, would be interesting. Kyrie is the reason that this does not fit for the Nets.
Right.
Is Kyrie does what Harden does at a lower level and is far more drama. And so I can't report what Chris Broussard reported yesterday with sources. I can just report it with logic and reasoning. Of course Kyrie doesn't like the idea of James Harden coming there. He didn't want to be the little brother to LeBron, so he left a great situation. Now he's going to want to be the third kid when two guys are clearly better than him at what he does best. So I love the idea of KD and Harden as a pair. I don't think it makes a ton of sense with Kyrie there, but I don't know if they're allowed to trade Kyrie because KD picked the coach. He picked DeAndre Jordan. He seems to be trying to pick Harden. I don't know if KD wants them to move on from Kyrie before they've even played a game together, but that is probably the best trade they could make, Colin.
By the way, speaking of trades, I remember years ago when the Lakers got Pau Gasol, I remember being in a window seat on the airport. It wasn't Twitter. It was like on the interweb. And I remember sitting there on the plane going, how did they get Pau Gasol? I don't understand this. That should be illegal. So Dennis Schröder is not Pau Gasol. But I looked at it and thought, LeBron gets a 27-year-old who's 18 a game, probably more with LeBron, and they get rid of Danny Green's contract and they give up a 28th pick. Am I nuts on this? That is the most underreported trade. This makes the Lakers a prohibitive favorite to win again, right?
So I think it's a great trade. Also, I hadn't realized how long ago the Lakers traded for Pau Gasol, but it was back when Colin Cowherd wasn't flying private. So, wow, it's a long time ago, America. I think it's a great move. I think this is such a better move than the reported 28th pick, Danny Green and Kuzma for DeMar DeRozan. I think Schröder is a better fit for the Lakers than DeRozan. And what goes along with this is, I reported this weekend, not only that the Lakers expect to lose Rondo, but they kind of know who they're going to lose him to. Rondo, I can't say assuredly, but the Lakers believe Rondo is going to sign with the Hawks for a lot of money. So if Rondo's out the door, you need another guy who can initiate offense. You also need a guy who can score off the bench, and maybe Schröder will start. We'll see what happens with Avery Bradley. KCP is going to be brought back on a big number, but I expect him to be back with the Lakers. I think they expect that as well. I love the fit. And as you were describing earlier, if you have LeBron and Anthony Davis, you're really just filling out the margins here.
Yes.
So the other decisions the Lakers have to make, for instance, do you want to bring back Dwight, or do you want to pursue, for example, Serge Ibaka or Tristan Thompson in that role? How do you want to use your mid-level exception? Those are the types of things they have to do, but they've got 90% of the puzzle solved with LeBron and AD. But I think Schröder is a really good piece, and it did kind of get lost in the Harden news and the Bucks trading for Drew Holiday, which is a signal to the whole league. They think they've got Giannis in the bag.
Yeah.
You don't trade away 3 future picks unless you believe Giannis is re-signing here in a few weeks with you.
So you are from Kansas City. You love Kansas City. And the last time the Raiders were there, they beat Kansas City and reportedly did a hysterical victory lap in the bus. I loved it. Joy loved it. I wonder how it sat with you.
Okay, so Kansas City is the largest American city you've never been to.
Yes,
correct, Colin Cowherd?
exactly. Yes, it is true. That's true, yeah.
Okay. By the way, I take that as a personal insult, and it will still take it as a personal insult until you finally go. But let me describe for people who haven't been there, Arrowhead Stadium. It's not one of those fancy downtown arenas. It's not on the Vegas Strip. It is in a place called Raytown, Missouri. There are 2 things around Arrowhead Stadium, a Taco Bell and a sad Drury Inn. So if you are taking a lap there, it is not to see the sights, my friends, of my great hometown of Kansas City. It is because you are trying to taunt the team. And I get it. Listen, Raiders, I understand. It was beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead was the single best moment your franchise has experienced since Rich Gannon was your quarterback. It's a good moment. You want to embrace it. You want to bask in it. You know that's probably as high up the mountaintop as you're going to get. Unfortunately for you, you beat them in the first matchup of the season, not the second matchup of the season. Because now what you have supplied the Chiefs with is the thing they've been searching for all year, motivation. It's hard to get motivated every day when you're so clearly the best team in the league, with so clearly the best player in the league. And you've seen that. The Chiefs played close games against bad teams, beat up on the Ravens when they were motivated, and then kind of sleptwalk. But now they're awake, and now they're ready. And assuming their tackles get off the COVID list, Derek Carr and John Gruden and Mike Mayock and Mark Davis, what you're going to experience this when's the game? Sunday night? Sunday is, I would say 3.5 hours of pain, but probably 2 hours and 15 minutes of pain, because at that point it'll be like 38-3, and they'll probably take their foot off the gas. I expect this victory lap to be punished. They will be punished for it for the first 3+ quarters on Sunday, and then all of us will be able to get to go to bed a little early Sunday night because the fourth quarter won't be competitive. So I'm glad they did it. I'm happy for the Raiders. Best moment for the franchise in 15 years. But that bill is coming due Sunday evening.
Okay, a minute and a half left. Little tight here. Nick Wright joining us finally. What was your, I forget because there's so many quarterbacks and we all have opinions. What was your hunch on Tua? Are you surprised that he's been this good? He came out this week and said, it's easier than I thought, which didn't bother me because when you have Saban, Brian Flores, and play for the best high school in the country, arguably, It is easier than it is for everybody else. What do you make of Tua so far?
So listen, I have a very spotty record on college to pro quarterback prognostication. I loved Haskins. That has not gone well. Tua is in my win column. I said Tua should go number 1. I stand by that. I bet Tua, I'll text you the slip, I bet Tua November 1st to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And right now, he's almost even with Herbert and Burrow on that. I love him. I think he's in. The only question mark was the hip. Aside from that, to me, is a no-doubter. I also think Brian Flores is turning himself into a top 5 coach in this league. I think they're going to win the division, and I think he's going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. I love that team. I love that player.
His name is Nick Wright.
Choked up talking about him, Colin.
Yeah, go ahead. I had that happen.
It's hard for me.
That happens once a year or two. Good seeing you, buddy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.